Please rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon, and become a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Big win for Sean Strickland in Houston. UFC 326 going down next weekend, and UFC strolling into Mexico this Saturday. Yeah, let's go indeed. Let's go. Let's keep on going. Let's keep it going. It is Dave and Fred. There's no AJ tonight. He is missing in action. Had to deal with a personal matter. Everything's fine. Parent-teacher type thing. Oof. What's that, new shirt, Fred? What is that? Who's that?
That's the guy that won the first 2 races of the NASCAR season. Tyler Reddick. Driving for Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, is that the guy with the kid?
Yeah. Yeah. But on a more positive note, one of his other kids was really sick like during the off season, and it's a positive story that Tyler Reddick has won the first 2 races, leading the championship. And it's been fun to watch. And here's something crazy. Okay, so NBC, they just signed a contract with the NBA for to present the NBA TV games, and they signed Michael Jordan to this huge deal for him to appear in the pregame show. And as of yet, he only appeared like twice or something like that. So in 2 weeks, his team won both races. He spent more time on TV for NASCAR than he has for his big contract in the NBA. So Michael Jordan is on TV, but for NASCAR.
So NBC's paying Michael Jordan to be an analyst?
To be part of the pre-show. But as of yet, there's been like 2 interviews with him that were pre-taped, and people are like, wow, they're paying him all that money for this?
That's pretty funny. I had no idea Michael Jordan was stealing money from NBC. Good for him. Good for him. Keep on getting money. Amazing. What a career.
Yeah.
I wonder where LeBron will be like 20 years after retirement. Will he be still making money and probably, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Maybe not to the level of Michael Jordan. Jordan is an icon of his own. But LeBron, for sure. Like, LeBron's probably worth close to $1 billion, if it's not more than $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. Does MMA have a Michael Jordan?
Not money-wise.
No.
Talent-wise, Jon Jones, but...
Oh, money-wise, Conor comes close.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think he's close. I think he's in the ballpark. But money and talent. Money with the championships. Yeah. There was a time when it felt like Jon Jones had the opportunity to be that guy. When he was the youngest champion in UFC history. I remember when he won the title from Shogun, and he had, stopped a robbery before the fight. He chased a guy down in New Jersey and, stopped him from doing a crime. And it was like, wow, this guy is the youngest champion in UFC history. He just walked through a very tough guy and made it look easy. He's been crushing everybody. It seems like there's no end in sight. He's charismatic. He seems like a good guy. He's stopping crimes. What a superhero. This guy's about to be a star. He signed a deal with Nike, and then Jon Jones happened. You know
who could be in that discussion, but maybe retired too quick or should have been born a couple of years later is George St. Pierre, because he was the first guy to get Gatorade, get all these big sponsors behind him, and he did it at a time where nobody else was doing it. So imagine if George was in his prime today, he'd probably have all the the big sponsor.
Yeah. If GSP was fighting today, it'd be a different thing. And the reason guys are able to make so much money is because of guys like GSP who brought the sport into prominence and did it in a gentlemanly fashion. When people in MMA, you remember, and I remember back in the days when you wanted to seem like you were classy guys because everybody thought you were thugs and just animals talking trash and being just, you were trying to uplift the name of the sport. You're trying to legitimize MMA, so you had a lot of guys trying to be gentlemen and trying to look proper and not acting out. And then, the sport totally changed, and we have what we have now. Sean Strickland fought last weekend. You know what I mean? That type of stuff is going on left and right. We talked about Jon Jones there for a second. Aspinall, he's the heavyweight champion currently. Jon Jones is retired, technically. Aspinall seems like he's hurt beyond recognition with his eyes. Like he may never see properly again, let alone fight properly again. But I don't know if you need both your eyes. I was watching a Jorge Masvidal podcast with Mike Brown. You remember Mike Brown? He's like the coach at American Top Team. And he knocked out Uriah Faber. He was the WEC 145 champion. Like, he was a very high-level MMA fighter. And he got shot in the eye with a BB gun when he was a kid. And he's legally blind in one eye. And he said on the Masvidal podcast that he'd never said this publicly, but he had somebody cheat the eye test for him every time he fought. And, still fought at a very high level with one eye. You got that other guy, Shara Bullet. Seems like he's got one eye, right? Michael Bisping fought with one eye. Maybe Aspinall can make it happen. But I know he's got problems with both of his eyes. Like, it's such a bad situation for him, and you feel for him because you never want to lose your vision, especially in that way. It's horrible. So it's awful as a fighter, as a human being. But I wonder about the UFC Heavyweight Division as a person that watches the UFC and as a fight person, And I look at who's the champion right now. It's Tom Aspinall. And when's he fighting? Who knows? Jon Jones is an option out there, possibly, but there's talk that he needs hip surgery and he might be done. So I just wonder where the UFC Heavyweight Division is at right now, what the UFC's plan is, because it doesn't seem like they have one. They don't seem to be in any type of hurry to crown a new heavyweight champion or even an interim heavyweight champion. Wouldn't you think at this point they would have done an interim title?
And now would be the time because, like we've been saying the last couple of numbered events, the main events have been, they've been lackluster. Like, what is it next week? It's Holloway and who?
And Chucky Olives.
Yeah. That's a great fight. It's a great fight. That pay-per-view could need a title fight, to add.
Well, the UFC is telling you it is a title fight. It's a BMF title.
That's not a real title.
I know. How do you like this? We're talking about the White House, a lot of big fights swirling around. How about this? If Aspinall's not ready to go, you do Ciryl Gane and Alex Pereira for the interim heavyweight title. I'd like to see that. It'd be a good fight.
Yeah, that would be great. And so, the heavyweights. So Aspinall, he's out because he's injured. Jon Jones, out because he's retired, injured, who knows. So Pereira would be a great name if he could pull it off and you could sell him as a champion. Ciryl Gane, if he wins that matchup, that potential matchup, he's the guy that lost to Jon Jones, that didn't beat Aspinall, but maybe he might have beat him. So I don't know. I think for the heavyweight division, it would be great if Pereira could pull it off, because then you could sell it like, oh, 3-division champ. This guy's a legend. And he's just legit, man. He KOs people at every division. So, like, that would be good for the division. Because right now, the heavyweight division, not right now, for a while, it's been, like, quiet. It seems the heavyweight division in the UFC has always been quiet. There's always been, like, some period of time where nothing's happening with the heavyweight division.
Yep. And we're definitely in a dark period for the heavyweight division right now. It seemed like we were in a bright spot there for a little bit, but right now it's very dark. Because you look at the UFC's rankings past Ciryl Gane at number 1, and then you got Alexander Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, a bunch of guys that have been there, been tested, and not passed the test. Waldo or Costa, Cortez, Sergey Spivak, Rizvan Kuniev, Marcin Tybura. They got Derek Lewis ranked 8th. Derek Lewis is still in the top 10 heavyweights in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's not a good division. It's probably the worst division in all of the UFC, if not all of MMA. Competition-wise, it's like there's 2-3 guys that are good, and everybody else is kind of not passing the test.
Like, if we're going to be 100% honest, like, heavyweight division is probably not the place where there's the best athletes right now. Like in the professional sports, I think heavyweights will gravitate towards other sports in general. And we get whatever the leftovers of athletes at heavyweight. Like, Ciryl Gane's a great athlete, but I think there's better athletes than him. Ciryl Gane's probably the best fighter, but he's not the best athlete at that size. Like, there's guys.
He might be in France. Because think about this. Say you're a big guy like Ciryl Gane and you're super athletic in America. You're probably playing football, right? American football. But if you're a big guy, super athletic like that in France, your build is not really for soccer. So what are you doing? Like, what's the sport where you're like, is rugby super popular in France? Like to me, you got to go to those countries to find your big, talented heavyweights that are very athletic. You got to go to the countries where they don't have large man sports, Because in America, like Brazil, being a big giant dude to play soccer, it's not big. So big giant Brazilian dudes, historically, have been very good heavyweights. Your Pedro Rizos, your Junior Dos Santos, There's been a lot. Fabricio Verdum, Nogueira. Russians, too. Fedor.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Pavlovich. I'm telling you, American heavyweights, I think that's why the heavyweight division's been kind of weak, because the UFC does rely a lot on American fighters. And, if you're a big athletic guy in America, you got a lot of big man options. If you're, super tall, you can play basketball. If you're big and strong and tall, you play football. You're not necessarily going to professional fighting. But if you're a big dude in France, you're not playing NFL football. And if soccer's not for you, well, fighting might be an option.
And, even baseball, you got some big guys in baseball pretty strong and all that. All those sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football.
That's it.
They're just going to pay a lot more money for the top athletes.
So don't look for any Dominican, American, or Japanese heavyweights, because those dudes are playing baseball. World Baseball Classic starts next week, Fred. Very exciting. Yankees won again today. I've been watching a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean every game of spring training. I'm kind of ashamed.
I saw a trailer for the new baseball game, and I almost bought it.
Oh, yeah,
Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I'm buying it because the captain's on the cover. I have to. I'm getting that for PS5. It's going to be Fantastic. New WWE game comes out next week, I think, too. I got to get that. CM Punk's on the cover. Can't argue. Yeah, so the heavyweight division, not in a great spot right now. I think that we need Alex Pereira to save it. Because, like you said, you know, whether you have Pereira as the champion or whether you have a newly crowned champion that just beat Alex Pereira, you then have a legitimate champion. And we need a legitimate champion, an interim champion. How long you give Tom Aspinall before they say you're not champion anymore? A year?
I mean, you could create an interim champion. Let's say that happens in 2-3 months, and then that guy wins, and he's not fighting for another 3-4 months. So I mean, by like Aspinall could have till the end of the year. If he's ready to fight by the end of the year, I'm not strict.
Okay. He got hurt in October. I wonder what the UFC is going to do.
You see, they should put some type of thing where you have to defend at least once in a calendar year. Like if you don't defend your title once every 12 months at least, you should vacate. Let the division keep going. No matter the reason. Contract, injury, I don't care. If you're not going to defend it for 12 months.
Yeah, and Aspinall was a guy who was saying, you know, Jon Jones needs to get out of the way and let the division kind of move on. But, you know, the division's been in a really weird spot since the UFC let their heavyweight champion walk. You know? Like, the division hasn't been right since they let Francis Ngannou, who was the legitimate heavyweight champion, leave. They had a guy. They had a superstar at heavyweight.
And they had a guy that was active.
They should have paid him. They should have paid him.
But then
I don't know, man. I think they dropped the ball with Ngannou because the heavyweight division hasn't been right since.
Maybe, but we say that, but I still think Jon Jones beats him if they fight. So, you know, where would Ngannou be? He'd be the new Ciryl Gane.
But the UFC could have made that fight happen, but they didn't. But you know why the UFC didn't make that fight happen? Because the UFC doesn't want to make fights happen. Did you see what Ronda Rousey said? Did you see it, Fred? I think I'm going to play the clip for you because, like, this is worth it.
I saw it.
She says that the UFC UFC wants to spend as little as possible. I'm trying to find the clip. I don't have it. But I have the quote from Ronda. Why can't I find it? Man, Twitter is busted. Busted. I'm telling you. You try to find a thing on Twitter now. And it's just impossible. Ronda said they just made a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount, so it's in their best interest actually not to put on the best fights possible, but to spend as little money as possible so that he can keep it. They're legally obligated to maximize shareholder value. And that was really the quote that I think made a real impact. It's not in their best interest to put on the best fights possible. Haven't I been saying that?
I mean, I disagree, though. Like,
look what they're doing.
But what could they do better right now? Like, everybody's inactive, injured, or whatever. The only thing I would say is that they're probably putting all their eggs into that White House card. And that I'm not crazy about. Like, you're going to have a bunch of big fights on one card and all the other cards are kind of suck.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, the UFC, that's still the place where the best talent is under contract, and I think they want to give us the best fight possible that they could give us in that. The best fight possible that's going to make money.
But they could have done...
It's a business about making
well, that's it. And the Ronda Gina fight is a fight that will make money. It's not the best fight possible, but it's a fight that would make money. And the UFC could have taken it, but they didn't because they didn't want to spend the money on it.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, man, it's a freak show fight. Gina hasn't fought in 17 years. Why would the UFC, who's like the number one brand in combat, like, I know they've done it in the past. They signed CM Punk. They signed James Toney. They've done these crazy fights before. But do they need to? I don't know.
Well, I mean, what would you rather? A fight like that kind of makes sense for both people given where they are in their fight careers, or a fight that I just saw scroll across our screen there where the rumor is Conor McGregor versus Carlos Prates? Which is like crazy. Should not happen. Conor would get smoked, huh?
Prates said he was never offered that fight.
That's nuts. I know that was a rumor out there, but like, you talk about UFC's not doing freak show fights. They're still entertaining the possibility of Conor McGregor, and at this point, every Conor McGregor fight is a freak show fight. He's not competitive.
Conor's already under contract though, so yeah. Ronda has a point. You know, the UFC has no incentive to go give a bunch of money to two girls that haven't fought in years, that are going to cost too much money. Like, yeah, she's right, man, but I don't blame the UFC. Like, unless you're telling me both girls only want a one-fight contract, okay, maybe the UFC should have jumped on that.
But I think that's what they wanted.
But
they just wanted to fight each other one time.
Model. The UFC is not about one-fight contracts.
I know.
Like, even CM Punk got 2 fights.
Yeah. I think it was maybe even 3, technically. I don't know.
Not sure, but like the UFC is not into the one-fight deal. So I don't blame them for not being interested. Like Ronda versus Gina, I agree. People are going to watch it, but that could be for another promotion. If I'm the UFC, I'm not sweating it. Like I said, man, it's a one-time deal. Not as if Ronda's going to be fighting 3 times a year and etc. Like,
yeah,
I could pass. I could enjoy it from as a fan.
I just want the UFC to be spending money, you know? Like, I wanted them to spend the money on Ngannou to keep him around. I want them to spend money. I want them to give Conor whatever contract he wants to fight at that White House card against, like, Nate Diaz. Give me a one-time fight. I like these fights. Yeah, but why not? It's fun that way.
Whatever he wants.
Well, not whatever he wants.
That's not how business works.
Not whatever, but, you know, let's make it happen. It feels like the UFC is not willing to kind of bend, and we're seeing a lot of fighters seem like they just get priced out of competition. At a certain point, a guy gets too big, and the UFC doesn't want to pay anymore, and then we just stop seeing them around. And it's like, man, they reach the peak of their value, and then everybody wants to see them, but the UFC doesn't want to pay to have them on because, like Ronda's saying, like they don't have incentive because they're not based on pay-per-views anymore. They got the Paramount deal. They're getting a flat fee no matter how many people are watching these fights.
You're right, but at the same time, I watch the UFC Embedded and I see Sean O'Malley in a multi-million-dollar house with a pink Ferrari and all these cars. And I'm saying to myself, man, how many title fights did Sean O'Malley have? And you're telling me he has all that net worth? And I'm supposed to think like he's not getting paid? I mean,
no, guys, he's probably making good money. He is one of the top stars in the UFC, but like, it's not really. But here's the thing, Fred. It's not about how much. It's not about like, oh, are they making money? Yeah, like a lot of these guys are making millions of dollars, and that's a lot of money, and they're doing very well. It's the piece of the pie that they're getting compared to what the UFC is keeping. doesn't seem
Do we
as
know
fair,
that,
as split as equally between the fighters and the promotion as it is between a lot of the leagues and the players in other sports. And that's really the contention for Fighter Pay. It's not that everybody's poor and nobody has like a nice house or fancy cars. Like, obviously some of them are making money. It's just that it seems like the portion that the UFC is keeping compared to what they're giving to the fighters, from what we understand, is bigger than what most leagues are doing, and that's really the issue.
Well, that's in the hands of the fighters, because if you look at how it was done in baseball, for example, is by putting the numbers out in the public. Mm-hmm. It's by telling real numbers. So, like, when player Soto signs for how many millions, then the next guy goes like, hey, if this guy gets that much, I want that much.
Yeah.
But that's on the fighters. Like, you guys got to stop the secrecy, and you got to say it like, hey, I just made $9 million for this fight. And you see Sean O'Malley, who has like this huge house, like he's probably made a couple of millions. So great for Sean O'Malley. And the next guy could say like, hey, if Sean O'Malley's getting $3-4 million a fight, I should be getting this. But again, that's on the fighters. And
well, how about this? How about this? The UFC boxing, Zuffa Boxing, right, which is the same promotion, they just signed this guy for $15 million for one fight. This boxing guy, whose name escapes me, that I've never heard of. And I'm not a boxing fan. So, apparently this was a big deal, and this was a big signing for Zuffa, and this was a really big signing for TKO, and they stole him from Eddie Hearn, who's a big boxing promoter, and all of this. What's the guy's name? Conor Benn. Conor Benn. I keep seeing his name pop up. The only reason I know this guy's name is because the UFC paid him a bunch of money to do this Zuffa Boxing thing, which I don't care about at all. I wish the UFC would spend half the money they spend on Zuffa Boxing on UFC BJJ so we could get Mikey Musumeci some actual competition. Like, how about spending some money on the jiu-jitsu thing that you have that you're spending nothing on, that you're barely paying attention to, and spending less money on this fucking boxing thing that I don't give a shit about. And is also like an embarrassment to your own fighters, because none of these guys are making $15 million. All of a sudden, this guy, this no-name jabroni I've never heard of, he gets signed over, gets $15 million, and the rest of them are sitting there like, oh, man, that sounds good. What the hell? Sean O'Malley's like, I saw Sean O'Malley do a video like, I'm not making $15 million for a fight. What the hell is that? I never heard of this guy. I'm like, yeah, I never heard of him either, Sean O'Malley. You're not alone. It's crazy. So, I mean, when you see shit like that, Fred, you go, yo, what are they doing, man? Who is this guy?
You see, I don't really think like that, because I just want to be entertained. And yeah, look, the fighters, but as I said that if the fighters want to make more money, they got to put it out there, man. That's how it was done in baseball and all these other sports, is by putting the numbers out there. And like that, the next guy has a bargaining chip. Like, you can say, but these guys are still making good money, man, for the most part, man.
Well, if you're Conor McGregor,
like, okay, Charles Jourdain.
Like, if you're Conor McGregor and you see that the UFC is giving this guy $15 million to box, you gotta imagine Conor McGregor's being like, okay, well, for me to fight in the UFC, it's double that. Like, Conor McGregor now, at this point, has got to be a minimum of $30 million to have one MMA fight. You would imagine. At least.
And I wouldn't be surprised he gets it. And
I hope
as
so.
You say, the other numbers, like, I think Jon Jones probably gets at least 10-15 million a fight.
Well, he should be getting more. If Conor Benn is making $15 million, the greatest of all time, Jon Jones, the Michael Jordan of our sport, as close as we got, this guy should be making $100 million a fight. It's Jon Jones. Who has Conor Benn ever beat? I have never heard of this guy in my life. Have you ever heard of this guy? Weren't you surprised when the UFC signed him and people were making a deal out of it? I was like, what is this? Who's this guy? It's crazy.
I mean,
it's one thing when they're looking at other sports and it's boxing, but now boxing is owned by the same guys that own them, and they go, yo, why are we getting paid so shit? This is going to cause a revolt in the UFC.
I don't know. I think if anything, they're going to overstretch themselves because, like, they're trying to do BJJ, boxing, MMA, and each of these sports needs a big investment, man. So, like, if you really want to be a player
the Saudis.
Yeah, but if you want to be a player in boxing, you can't just have Conor Benn. You need to have opponents to put in front of him and things like that. So, we'll see, man. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm not sure why the UFC is going towards other sports like that. But I don't think they're stealing money away from the MMA guys.
No, it's different.
That's not how I see it.
No, I don't either, but I just think that if you're all the same company and you're a fighter for the UFC, like if I'm Islam Makhachev, I go, hey, wait a second, $15 million? I think I'm worth at least that. Like, I don't think Islam is making $15 million a fight. But if he's looking at what this guy's making for his next fight now, Islam has got to be asking for some serious dollars. He has to. I think a lot of them are going to rethink what they're making because of what Zuffa Boxing is now paying some of these guys. That's public knowledge. Anyways, I hope the Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight goes really well because I'm secretly hoping that this MVP promotion, continues and they finally give us Fedor and Brock Lesnar. That's my secret hope. Come on. You don't want to see it?
Like, okay, you saw that they announced Mayweather is going to fight Pacquiao?
Yeah, I thought he was fighting Mike Tyson.
No, well, Mayweather, I think, said he wanted that or something because he saw all the money Tyson fight. Yeah. But he's going to fight Pacquiao, and people are like, oh, Mayweather is too old, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, it's not as if Pacquiao didn't age. They both aged the same since their last fight, so why not, man? Both guys are late 40s, but hey, why not?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll probably watch it. When is that? Summer?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, it was such a big deal the first time they fought. It was years in the making. They got the classic rivalry. If they want to fight each other again, why not?
Some people say Floyd is broke.
That would be sad because he made so much. But he also spent like crazy.
At the same time, I saw some other people say, like, Floyd being broke might mean like, oh, he's under $100 million now.
Maybe.
Like that's a chance for him to make another $100 million and double his value.
Yeah. Floyd broke is not like no money. It's just like he's, he tried to buy that new private jet and he was like, it's a little expensive. And he was like, wait a second. I'm Floyd Mayweather. Nothing's expensive to me. Let me fight again and drum up some cash, and then we'll buy 3 of these planes. All right. Sean Strickland fought last weekend and looked very good against Anthony Hernandez. Strickland came in as an underdog, and I was a little surprised. I was thinking Strickland had a shot in the fight, but, Hernandez was surging and looking really good coming into it, but Strickland just did what he does. Used the jab, kept him at a distance, and then in the third round just threw it on him, just a flurry of punches. Hernandez just couldn't get anything going. He couldn't get on the inside of Strickland. Strickland looks so much bigger and stronger than Hernandez. He was in great shape for this fight. The press conferences were a total disaster, but the fight was a thing of beauty. Sean Strickland fought perfectly last weekend. He looked like maybe the best version of Sean Strickland we've ever seen, which is saying something considering he beat like a prime Ciryl Adesanya. This was a very good Sean Strickland. I don't know how he would do against Khamzat, but after seeing him fight this weekend, I think that's the guy I want to see Khamzat up against. I know that there's a couple other fights. Isn't Imavov fighting somebody.
Not sure.
Imavov, I know, is in the mix. Or Caio Borralho. Oh, Imavov beat Borralho, right? What am I seeing here? There's some fight going on. Reinier de Ridder? No, I don't think it'll be Reinier de Ridder. Right? Didn't he lose? Yeah, he lost to Brendan Allen. Reinier de Ridder's, I don't think, in a mix. Brendan Allen, I think, is in the mix for a title shot. He replaced Anthony Hernandez in that fight back in October and beat Reinier de Ridder. So, Brendan Allen maybe around. Caio Borralho, he had a big win over Nassourdine Imavov. Like, there's a bunch of guys kind of circling a title shot. But I'd rather just do Borralho versus Brendan Allen. And the winner of that could get a title shot down the road. And right now, next up, I would do Khamzat versus Sean Strickland. I think they trained together maybe at some point, but who cares? They should fight.
Yeah, the question is, do you make it at the White House card? I don't know if it's the type of fight, because it's going to bring a lot of nasty trash talk. Do you want to bring that to the White House? I'm not sure. But,
I mean,
that's the fight to make.
It's kind of a White House full of nasty trash talk, isn't it? I mean, they do a lot. Trump kind of nasty trash talks people, doesn't he? Of all the presidents in the history of presidents, he does a lot of nasty trash talk. He called somebody a piggy. He said, "Quiet piggy." That's pretty nasty. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's shocking for a president. Yeah, I'd like to see Khamzat fight Strickland. There was another guy who, Uros Medic, who helped me cash in my parlay, by the way. My parlay of Carli Judice and Uros Medic came through last weekend. And Uros was an underdog. He beat Jeff Neal, knocked him out in the first round, knocked him out cold. Very impressive knockout, and a very good post-fight speech from Uros Medic. Just really great, talking about how he's going to finish all his fights. He might not win all his fights, but he's going to go for it, and he's just a man, and it was just a magnificent speech from Uros Medic, who I'm now a big fan of. Nasty knockout. This guy has a 13-3 record now. Every single one of his fights has finished. He means it when he says either I'm going to finish the guy or I'm going to get finished. Like, it's do or die in here. Which is fun. He's never gone to decision. He's been knocked out once. He's been tapped out a couple times. But he has 11 wins by knockout and 2 by submission, and he's now knocked out 3 in a row in the UFC, including Jeff Neal, who he wasn't supposed to beat in the co-main event last weekend in Houston. Also, Carli Judice, do you remember this, Fred? She was the one that was minus 400 favorite, and then she moved to minus 800 mysteriously. It seemed like she was a lock to win and something was up, and I said, hey, this is an odd line movement. Maybe the UFC is going to look at that. Maybe they'll cancel the fight. They didn't. Judice won by unanimous decision. Kind of weird.
Well, she was the favorite.
Yeah, but why did she go from minus 400 to minus 800?
Her opponent might have been injured, something.
Right.
Information.
Like the line movement indicated something fishy. And I saw it on a Thursday night. And then on Saturday, they still did the fight. And it went exactly as we thought it would go. Is that not suspicious to you? No?
I mean, the odds indicate that she should have won no matter what. But
yes,
yeah.
But like the odds like really started favoring her. Like tons of money started coming on her. Like minus 400 to minus 800. It's like a big jump. We looked at other lines, and it was like, oh, this guy went from like plus 180 to plus 140. Not a huge jump. She doubled. Which indicates something. So I said, hey, let's jump on this. Let's add her to the parlay. Remember, you're like, it's not worth it. I'm like, but if it's fixed, it is worth it. If you know somebody's going to win, you should bet all the money on them. And it felt like we knew she was going to win. And then she won. First of all, I didn't think the fight was going to happen because I thought they'd do something because of the line. And then when the fight happened and she won, I was like, oh, my God. What just happened? You know? I didn't see the fight, so I don't know how it went, but just betting-wise, and just given what we know from the UFC over the past few months and years now, we got to look out for this fishy stuff. UFC 326 is next weekend. We talked about it a little bit. It's Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF title. Yo, they got no fights on this card. What are they doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights. They usually do like 14, 15. This is 2 fights on the early prelims, 3 fights on the TV prelims, and then 5 fights on the main card. It's usually 5-fight main card, 4-fight TV prelims, and usually 3-fight or 4-fight early prelims. Fewer fights. It's not a bad thing. Caio Borralho is fighting Reinier de Ridder. Oh, what the hell? Did Caio Borralho... Oh, he lost to Imavov. So maybe Imavov and Brendan Allen should fight? I know a lot of people think Imavov is in line for a title shot, but I'm just not convinced. I think Strickland should get it. I would see Imavov fight Brendan Allen. Caio Borralho is fighting Reinier de Ridder. I don't think either of them really have a shot at getting a title fight. They're both coming off losses. Borralho to Imavov, de Ridder to Brendan Allen. That's the co-main event next weekend. It's not a strong card. It's not a pay-per-view, technically. It isn't Canada, though. Who's paying for this? If you had to pay like $60, $70 for this, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, cool. That's a good fight. Caio Borralho, Reinier de Ridder, okay. And then we're going to Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson on the main card. And then Gregory Rodriguez, the RoboCop, against Bruno Ferreira, which should be a fun fight. But, I don't know. Not a great card next weekend. No, it is not. And what is the other thing? Oh, yeah, there's a card this weekend. I was like, we had to do one more thing. Brandon Moreno taking on Loner Kavanaugh. Who?
Loner?
The Loner.
Is it the Loner?
His name is Lone L-O-N-E' Kavanaugh. Loner. Never heard of this guy in my life. He's a Dana White Contender Series guy, 2-1 in the UFC, coming off a loss by knockout, fighting Brandon Moreno, former UFC flyweight champion, also coming off a loss to Tatsuro Taira. This one in Mexico, that's why Brandon Moreno's in the main event, but god damn, this is a weak main event. And the rest of the card isn't so good either. Lots of Mexican talent on this show. This one is for Mexico, I think. I'm not even going to do a parlay, I don't think, for this one, Fred. I don't think it's worth it. I don't really... I gave you a winning parlay last week. That's enough.
Me too.
Yeah. Did you do a winning parlay too last week?
Yes, he's Sergey and Herrera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you and I both had winning parlays this last week. AJ's lost, and now mysteriously he's not here, right?
We banned him. We don't want him.
Yeah, he's not allowed on the show because he lost last week. Only winners this week. Brandon Moreno, Loner Kavanaugh, Marlon Vera, David Martinez is the co-main event. Chito Vera. Yeah. Martinez is from Mexico. Daniel Zellhuber, also Mexican, taking on King Green, formerly Bobby Green. Edgar Chairez, a Mexican, taking on Felipe Bunez from Brazil. Imanol Rodriguez, 6-0 from Mexico. Santiago Luna, 7-0 from Mexico. A lot of Mexicans on this card. As you would expect, UFC Mexico City. Hope these guys got their cardio ready. They will be fighting at altitude. Remember Cain Velasquez, Fabricio Verdum? Altitude Cain. What happened? What happened? The cardio king ran out of breath. It's crazy. If that fight happens in Vegas, Cain Velasquez wins that shit 10 times out of 10. Best heavyweight ever. Cain Velasquez. Peak Cain versus Peak Fedor. I'm taking Peak Cain. How about that? Is that a hot take? No? You taking that too? You agree with that?
I mean, an argument can be made on both sides. It's not as if it's a crazy argument on either side.
Yo, isn't Cain free? You hear me, MVP Promotions? Peak Cain, Peak Fedor. We never got it, but how about current Cain, current Fedor? I think Cain is pretty banged up. I don't think he can fight anymore, unfortunately.
Cain versus Brock, the rematch.
Brock's revenge. You know what's
Brock
crazy?
had his revenge in pro wrestling.
No, he didn't. He lost to Cain in pro. Oh, no. Did he have the revenge?
No.
He tapped Cain,
he
right?
won.
Yeah.
He won.
It was really short, and it was weird.
Yeah.
And then Cain never wrestled in WWE again. Right. I forgot about Cain Velasquez's short stint as a pro wrestler. He was actually pretty good at it. It came out of nowhere. What a guy, Cain Velasquez. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored. Shout out to all the members. I see Lauren in the chat, Jason Pete. Thank you for all the members supporting over at join.ringsidereport.net. Jason Pete says Conor Benn is a big name, but not worth $15 million. I guess he is a big name in boxing, but he's also coming off a suspension for steroids, and this guy's getting $15 million. Unbelievable. Give me $15 million. I mean, I can't really box, but give me $15 million. I would spend it wisely. I don't know. All right, we'll see you again tomorrow night for more here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.